Now we're continuing on with color theory, but we're going to use color pencil. Normally I have this worksheet printed out for y'all to be able to color in the different aspects of this with your color pencils, but we're just going to make a chart on this paper with the directions that it has for you to use here. This is using different color harmonies. And the video that I showed you a couple days ago talked about the different color harmonies that you could have using the color wheel. I'm not going to make you do the colors of the color wheel right here because we just painted a color wheel. But I do want us to talk about primary colors, secondary colors, color harmonies, warm colors, cool colors, and those kinds of things. So you want to make sure that you have your primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, orange, green, and violet, and a black color pencil. Make sure they're already sharpened so that you'll be able to use them. We're going to do these exercises here where we're using red and green, which are across from each other on the color wheel. And you'll see what happens. They become neutral and brown as you mix the colors together. Blue and orange are colors opposite on the color wheel. If you look right here, see what happens when you blend them together. Purple and yellow, those are opposite each other on the color wheel. See what happens when you blend them. They just make different types of brown. Then there's a value scale of green right here that we're going to do, and you'll just start out with pure green, showing more white through the paper, and then get blacker, darker green as you go, and this is just tints and shades of gray. Down here we have the primary colors, the secondary colors, and the intermediate tertiary colors, and you're going to mix all of those with these pencils right here. So I'm going to show you how to do this briefly. So we're going to use red and green up here, and these are complementary color schemes. So I'm going to use red on this side, and I want you to notice how I'm using my pencil point. I like to start out with the side right here, and I'm just going to start out with pure red. And I'm bearing down quite a bit, and I'm just going to continue. I'm going to put less red. I'm going to bear down less, touch the paper without as much pressure, and get lighter as I go towards the center. Okay, so I'm going to bear back down right here. Notice that I'm doing short little strokes. I don't go very far away from where my pencil started. And then I'm just taking the pressure off the pencil and not bearing down as much to where I'm not using hardly any red at all. And you can see more white through the paper. That's called a gradation or a value scale. Now, I'm going to use red's complementary color, which is directly across from it on the color wheel. Okay, see red and green? I'm going to start on this side, and I'm going to use green. I'm going to bear down right here. And I'm going to gradually get lighter. Take the pressure off of it as I go towards the red. And then you mix right into the red. And you just keep getting lighter as you go. And basically it's showing you what happens when you mix the two colors together. So these are complementary colors. So I'm going to write up here complementary. And I want you to do the same. So the next two are going to be complementary too. So I'm going to start out with blue on one end. And notice how I'm holding my pencil point. I like to do short little strokes. If you use your pencil point like this, the point won't break as often, although this one's already breaking, so I got to fix it. I think it was broken before I started. You got to make sure you have your pencil sharpener handy. Okay, so I'm going to start out with blue on this end. Make it pretty solid. Oh, it's broken again. Okay, so make sure it's pretty solid. And get lighter as you come through. Notice that I kind of go shade like in like little ovals, because I don't really like to see what direction I'm shading in unless it's purposeful. I like for it to be nice and smooth. And then I'm gradually taking the pressure off the pencil and getting lighter as I go towards the center. Now this paper that I'm looking at is on your slideshow that I shared with you. Okay, so just make sure it gets darker this way. So the color across from blue is orange, and that's its complementary color. Okay, so I'm going to start with orange on this side. Notice how I'm holding my color pencil. I'm starting out bearing down with my pencil and showing less white of the paper through the pencil. Then I'm gradually getting it lighter as I go towards the blue. And see how it makes it darker. These are nice ways to be able to shade with your color pencils. When you mix the color with its complementary color, it makes it nice and rich instead of just using black. Okay, I want to add more red through here and green. All right, so now we're going to do purple and yellow. I think yellow is my least favorite color. I don't know why. But I'm going to start out bright on this end, very intense. And I'm going to take down, don't bear down as much as I go towards the center. And I'm going to use yellow's complementary color, which is purple. And your color pencil probably says violet purple. Notice how I'm using my color pencil. And I'm going to get lighter as I go towards the center. And then I'm going to, you see what the neutral color this makes when you mix the two together. I want to, okay, so those are all your complementary colors. Now we're going to do a monochromatic color scheme, which is tints and shades of one color. So I'm going to write down monochromatic, and I want you to do the same. Okay? So that's using tints and shades of one color. So they're using green. I'm going to use green just because that's what's on the paper. You can use whatever you like. I'm going to start out with green, a very light green, and I'm not bearing down. And then I'm getting a little bit darker as I go towards the right. Notice how it's getting much darker. And so if you add white to a color, it creates a tint. Okay, and when you're using these color pencils, if you're showing more white through the color pencil, that's a more white of the paper through the color pencil. That is a tint. If you add black to a color, it's going to become a shade, and we're about to add black to make it even darker. Now, it's very important when you are coloring that you do short little strokes. If you do long strokes, it's going to look ugly, okay? Ugly. And I like to go back over it in all kinds of different directions so that you can't see what direction I shaded. So now I'm going to add black on this end to make it even darker. And I'm going to hold my pencil the same way I did with the other. And that's what happens when you mix the two colors together. Black is actually neutral. It's all the colors absorbed together. And white is the absence of color. And then I'm gradually taking the pressure off of my pencil. I'm not bearing down on the paper as much. To make it get darker as it goes. Get darker and lighter. Okay, so that's monochromatic. This is the same thing using black to white. So I'm going to start over here being very, very dark with my pencil. So this is just tints and shades of gray. And I just use black to do that. So whenever you say, Miss Stowe, I don't have a gray color pencil, you just don't bear down as much with your black color pencil. Now, hue is the name of a color. So if I asked you what the hue of this pencil is, you'd say blue. If I asked you what the hue of this pencil is, you'd say orange. Value is the light or darkness of a color. Intensity is how pure the color is, or if you put another color in it, it's going to tone it down. So if it's like straight, like primary color or secondary color, that's just going to be more intense than the rest. So this gets darker as it goes to the right. All right, so make it lighter. So there's my grayscale. Now we're going to just down here, so we know that these are primary colors. I am going to write primary. The three primary colors, I hope you know the answer to this. Red, and I'm just going to do a little shading there. Red, yellow, and blue. Now, if you mix two primary colors together, you are going to get a secondary color. So, if I'm going to mix red and yellow together, let's say if I mix red and yellow together, I'm going to get orange. So these are going to be secondary. Let me write that down. And you are going to do the same thing. You're going to label yours. And I'm doing this on a 9 by 12 piece of paper. So this is orange. And if you mix yellow and blue together, you're going to get green. And you can actually do that if you want to, or you can just pick up the green pencil and color it. So orange and green are secondary colors. We got one more secondary color. So if you mix yellow and red together, you are going to get violet. Okay, now we need to do the intermediate colors or the tertiary colors, okay? So if you mix red and orange together, let's write down tertiary. Y'all, I can't spell to save my life. A-R-Y. Tertiary. So if you mix red and orange together, you're going to get red-orange. So I'm going to do a light shading of red. You're going to have to mix these yourself. And then I'm going to put red, orange over it. So we got red-orange. So let's do yellow-orange. So I'm going to do a very light shading of yellow-orange. And then we'll do yellow-green. So I'm going to do a light shading of green. And then I'm going to color yellow over it. And there I have yellow-green. And then I'm going to have blue-green. So I'll put blue. And then I'll put a light shading of green over it. So I have blue-green. Then we'll have blue-violet. So I'll put a light shading of blue. And then I'll put some violet over that same color. And then red-violet. So I'm going to do a very light shading of blue. Of violet. And then I'm going to put more red into it than violet. And those are my tertiary colors. Then you will take a picture of this and you're going to put this on the color theory slide. There's another color theory coloring page that you're going to draw it. And then we're going to work on it together using different color schemes. So I'll see you in the next video.